All right, it is halftime of the Super Bowl, and as promised, here we are with our 15-minute podcast on Ticket760.com, the miracle that is. To my left is Walter Pasacreta. You've heard of him in his second tour of duty with the station.
Thank you very much.
To my right, you've got Andy Everett, co-host of Said Wally in the morning.
That's right. I put up with him every day.
You can hear these people from 7 to 9 a.m. so far still. I'm Mike. I do the afternoon show. It's called Ticket 760 Sports Talk San Antonio, Texas. And so here we are. The halftime has arrived. First of all, right off the top, thanks to Evelyn and Kennedy from Babes Men's Club for helping us put this bit together. As I've said ever since they announced that the Black Eyed Peas were going to do the halftime, there was no damn good reason for me to be watching that mess. So I decided
the halftime show at Jerry World should have been George Strait with a guitar and no smoke and mirrors, and that's it.
I know. I've got time for Fergie. I don't have time for Black Eyed Pea. You know what I'm saying?
I'd rather have Evelyn and Kennedy, frankly, from Baby
Would you?
Men's Club. That's just me.
Well, then here we go.
Right,
that's what we have
good to
now.
go.
All right. So we thought, well, hell, the Super Bowl's going on, so we might as well discuss a couple of football topics here at this point of the year. You know, Monday I'm going to just start mailing in shows because I don't know what to do with myself without football.
Until August, hopefully.
And, you know, what's funny is that normally when at the end of the season, because, of course, for the record, none of us care at all about the Pro Bowl, right? That's just
Of course not.
Okay.
It's the worst All-Star game there is.
Right. All right, fine. And so the thing is that football's now done. The question is, from a professional standpoint, how long is it going to be done? Normally on the Monday after the Super Bowl, I start talking Cowboys, draft, mini camps, OTAs, anything I can possibly suck out of Cowboydom, I will do on the program. I may not have that opportunity this year because, I mean, the union has spent the last 2 weeks trying to scare everybody and act like that the NFL's going to be dead, just probably to hack off Goodell. I think that they will do their best, I guess, to get something done, but it looks as though we could have an imminent lockout. I don't know how much time gets delayed. Maybe we're back by the draft in April. Maybe we get training camp on time. And the thing is this new guy that runs the players union, this is his first time to shine.
I think it's the first time for Goodell, too, because the last collective bargaining agreement was done with Tagliabue. So there's going to be a lot of different things that go on. And I think the thing is, I think we're going to have a season. There's a number of reasons for that, but I think the football guys will get this all worked out. There may be a short lockout, but I think they'll get it done. They're going to have a draft no matter what. They just can't sign the players, and they just can't put the players, on rosters and talk to them after draft day. So I think that's going to happen. But not only do you talk about football and the impact of it, you got an NBA lockout that's looming as well, and I think NBA fans don't really start to pay close attention to the NBA until football's over this time of the year. So if there's an NBA lockout, well, it's going to affect you and me and those that are involved in the NBA. The sports fan still has football. But if you don't have the NFL starting when it normally does, there's going to be backlash from a number of areas, not only just the fact that you want to root for your favorite team and you want to see football on Sundays, but there is a multi-billion-dollar industry called fantasy football that no one's going to be able to play until the last minute.
And that's what it's all about. It's about money, and I think both sides, Mike and Andy, I think both sides understand how much money is at stake here.
$9 billion.
And they'd be foolish to lock the players out.
Well, so would the NBA, but I think that's going to happen too.
Well, I think, but the NBA is being foolish because they want to take such a huge slash out of the players' salary. I think the players will have no other thing to do but not participate. But I think for the NFL, they understand that they're the number one sport in this country, and for them to not participate, not be ready, and not have an off season, and I think the off season for the NFL has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger over the years. I think they'd be crazy, and they understand that they can't afford to have a lockout and lose billions of dollars.
Just for funsies, I'm going to play devil's advocate with you. You're right. That is the number one pro sports league in the country, which is why they may look at it arrogantly and say, the fan will come back when we come back. We're the NFL. We can take off as much time as we want. We can screw over the union like we always do, and the fan will come back, whether we start the season on time, whether we start it in October. Hey, fan, we've got an agreement now. Our first game is the first week in November. They'll come back. we're the NFL.
If the Super Bowl's in April, we'll still watch it. If they play 16 or 18 games starting October or whatever, people will still watch it. This is America's pastime. I don't think it'll go, unless you were to lose a season or two, I don't think it would ever go the way that baseball did. People were starting to wane on baseball because it takes so long to play. Games are long. There are 162 games. Football is once a week. Football is an event. And whether you're a college football fan or a pro football fan, you're talking about an event and something that is part of your life week in and week out. Bears fans, Packers fans, doesn't really matter. You build your life around going to those games. And Cowboy fan too. Anywhere you go, season ticket holders, it's a big deal because it's 8 times a year and it's once a week and it may be every other week as the season goes along. But it's not like the NBA or the Major League Baseball where there's a game almost every night.
I think though we can't afford to look over the fact of how big the NFL offseason has become. We saw with the NBA offseason with LeBron James and that whole fiasco, but that really got the NBA going a lot sooner, and it got fans into it, and that's why the ratings for the NBA have been incredible here in the beginning part of the season. I think the NFL understands that, hey, you know what, our offseason is just as big as our regular season.
But there is no offseason in the NFL.
But there is. I mean, we have the NFL draft, we have the combines, we have free agency period. They can't afford to have that stuff blocked by talks of an NFL strike or an NFL lockout. That will hurt them, and that publicity they don't want, and I think both parties understand that.
I think we are seriously going to have a delay. The kid that plays quarterback at Stanford, there's no reason on God's green earth for that guy to go back to Stanford. Especially, and certainly he talked to Harbaugh in the days leading up to Harbaugh leaving Stanford to take the 49ers job. What do you think? Well, I think the NFL may have a delay next year. So he goes back to school. There's been signs that, and the NFL's serious. And I think that the NFL's arrogant enough to blow off part of the offseason because they want to make – this isn't about this year and losing an offseason. It's about the next 10 years and getting their way, as always. But the NFL's going to have to capitulate here. They want to increase games. Yeah. Which is crazy.
They want to increase
you better increase payroll then and increase rosters.
Absolutely.
Increase payroll, increase rosters. And I agree with you. Andrew Luck not coming out may have had the fact to do with something that there may not be a season or a shortened season or delayed season. But by the same token, 56 players entered early this year. That's a record. Never before have they had 56 guys enter early. Now, some of them are at Auburn, and everybody's considering that
and Ohio State.
The roof is going to cave in at Auburn and Ohio State. Yeah. And so maybe they bolted early because they had no other choice. And they may be on double secret probation down the road. But nonetheless, 56 guys come out early. They want to get paid, and I think we're definitely going to see a rookie salary scale. So it's just another year of potentially playing if you come out early.
There's another shot at the owners here because it's another case where nobody's holding a gun to the owner's head and saying, "Hey, sign these players. You need to sign us for this kind of money." It doesn't have. I've become a sports fan now that sides with the players more often than I do with the owners.
I'm the opposite. Why do you side with the players?
Because nobody holds a gun to the owner's head and say, "You need to sign me or else." If you can't pay these guys, if you can't pay the Drew Goodens of the world, $25 million, then don't sign them.
Drew Gooden gets $32 million, and then the next breath they complain that they don't have any money and that they're hurting, and we have to cut the salaries back.
We know they're lying. We know they're lying. But at the end of the day, it's their team. And I can't walk downstairs and tell Matt Martin, "I want more money," or I'm out. He'll say, "Have a nice life. Get out."
Yeah, but you can't dunk and you can't score 25 a game.
Yeah, but I can do the best sports talk radio show in Texas.
Yeah, you could.
Thanks.
That's because you're the mayor of sports in San Antonio, I hear.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying. Look, I don't agree with many owners in pro sports. I hate to compare the NFL to the NBA. It's almost apples and oranges, but they bought the dang thing, and I think that. I mean, most teams in the NBA don't even care about winning. Same thing in baseball. They're not there to win.
They're there to make money. Look at all those baseball teams that take the money that the New York Yankees give off the luxury tax and they stick it in their back pocket, and they do nothing to make their teams better.
I know. All right. So, what about the Cowboys? Assuming we have a season, which I think we're going to have a season. I think we may have an issue with the draft.
We'll have an abbreviated NBA season rather than an NFL
which is
season.
Fine by me because it's just the NBA. And I don't want to get off track, but the 50-game season in '99 stands out as the best season for me, entertainment-wise, I've ever seen.
Because the games mattered. Agree with you.
Yeah,
games mattered.
That's right.
You had to play. You had a short season. It was a marathon or a sprint, not a marathon.
Yeah, and I hope in 20 years when I'm an old man, the NBA's got about 20 teams, and they're all in the 20 hugest markets in the country, or regional or some such. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where the NBA's going. Because there's just too many markets that can't afford it. All right, Cowboys. They just brought Rob Ryan in to be defensive coordinator. Opie Garrett's in his first year as head coach. Assuming we have a season, which I think we will, what do you boys think about next season?
Well, I think offensively the Cowboys need help on the offensive line, but skill position-wise with Dez Bryant, with Miles Austin, Witten, I hope that Marion Barber's not back. I think that Choice and Jones are better. I think they perform better as a twosome instead of having three guys in there. I don't think there's room for three running backs in the NFL unless somebody gets hurt. Quarterback is fine. If they can get an offensive lineman either via free agency or in the draft, I think their offense is going to be fine. The defense was great a year ago and not so good this year. Maybe Rob Ryan has some schemes that'll make them better. I don't think they're that far away. They need a lockdown defender, and they need an offensive lineman, and they need direction. And I think Opie Garrett gave them that. I think Jason did a great job.
Your arm's getting tired? Okay, good. I'm sorry, Andy. You're rolling. You're rolling.
I think he did a great job. Yeah, don't interrupt anything here.
Sorry.
He did a great job.
My shirt's untucked. I'm good. Go ahead.
Where was I?
I don't know.
Jason did a great job
he did.
of getting this group together and playing. Hey, Moose Johnson was saying they didn't hit in pads in Wednesdays and Thursdays during practice in the Wade era. They just kind of winged it. And you can't be ready to play on Sunday if you don't do what you're supposed to do on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And that's it's not something that's new. It's just getting the Cowboys back to some sense of normalcy. Yeah.
And I think that's where they are, Mike. I think they are back to being a normal NFL football team. But I think you can make the argument that the Rob Ryan hire is as big as the Jason Garrett hire, only because you have a defense that was playing so well 2 years ago that went right into the toilet this past year and was one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Rob Ryan has got a lot of work to do, and that's going to be the heart and soul of this Cowboys franchise now. How good can they be defensively? We know they have the parts to be a very good offensive team, but can they get it done offensively? Can they get back to where they were 2 years ago? Rob Ryan's got a lot of work to do, and it'll be interesting to see as we move forward who else he brings in to help him as coaches on the defense. And, I agree with you, and I think we'll all agree they need some help in the secondary. They were really bad there.
Well, the guy from Oakland's a free agent now, Ashamuga, that signed with the free agent thing. Asamoah?
Yes.
That's how you pronounce that? Okay, him.
That's a question for your GM, though. That's a lot of money.
Well, okay, pay it. You need a lockdown corner. You need somebody, and Jerry's the GM, so sign that guy. I want that guy in the secondary.
There's two things Rob Ryan has going for him in my book. A, he's not Wade Phillips. B, I've heard this said in the last couple of weeks. Well, Rob's never had a defense this talented. Really? That's an opinion. I mean, that Cowboy defense was awful, like you said. Here's what I think is a fact, though, about Rob Ryan. He's never been on a team where he was the defensive coordinator where the offense was this talented. Now that's a fact. I hope, because the team, when he was in Oakland and he was in Cleveland, he never had an offense on the other side helping him that scored more than 17 points a game. Cowboys will score 20, 21 points a game this year, I guess. That should help Rob Ryan be a better defensive coordinator just because he's got a better offense that's going to help his defense. But I agree with you, man. They don't get an overhaul in the secondary. You can dig up Lombardi's bones. That team's not stopping anybody.
But I don't think they're that far away. I think things just went awry, as did everything else. I mean, it was an absolute circus up there.
Sure.
There was a circus going on up there in Irving, Texas, and we all know that now. And I don't think Rob has a lot of work. I mean, he's got a lot of things that need to be changed up there, but I think the talent is there. I mean, Mike Jenkins it can't possibly be as bad as he's played this past season.
Well, I heard the great
talent there
the great
somewhere.
Brad Sham talking about Mike Jenkins earlier in the season. They were one of the last games of the season, and he said, go back to the game against the Houston Texans when Jenkins got 2 pass interference penalties, and then they ended up scoring on the play, and Jenkins was never the same the rest of the season. He was gun shy. He was afraid to make plays because he was always afraid of getting pass interference. The problem I had with Mike Jenkins is he olayed a lot of tackles in the secondary. Rob Ryan's not going to allow that. He's not going to put up with it. And if he can get back to having confidence to guard somebody on a pass pattern and hitting people in his vicinity when it comes time for him to make a tackle, you're going to have one good corner there. If you can get another one, your defense is really improved.
They need a butt kicker back there, and I think they have one. I think Rob Ryan will be fine there.
All right, that's it. We're done. I think we all agreed that the Cowboys, I don't think anybody knows what's going to happen with them.
Back to the playoffs next season?
I have no idea, to be honest with you. And to be honest with you, I don't even care anymore. I'm so frustrated and fed up. I mean,
not us.
This is indifferent. I'm indifferent in 2K11.
If Philadelphia signs Vic to a long-term deal, I think Philadelphia's got to be the favorite in the NFC East going into the season. But even with Vic in their lineup, I had the Cowboys going into this season as the favorite. They just didn't get it done because they were in disarray. Jason Garrett was 5-3. I think if you go out and take 10-6, you'll take that right now and see where that puts you as far as the playoffs are concerned next year.
All right, the second half is next of the Super Bowl. Again, if you have to get in the car and go get more beers or whatever, the game is on Ticket 760. So tune in and listen to the radio broadcast. That's it for Andy and Wally. That's it. We're done. I'll see you on Monday at 4. These boys will be in the room at 7 a.m. Mañana. Y'all be cool. We'll see you later. And thanks to Babes, both of them.